Welcome to our new video. In this video we are going to talk about Sony Xperia Pro-I, so let's get started. This is the Xperia Pro-I, Sony's new flagship that is about the cameras. Its main camera features a huge 1-inch type sensor, a double opening and face detection self-adjust, but it takes more than fancy hardware to make a decent camera or cell phone experience. Many recent Sony phones have comes with Roman numerals in the name, but that is not the case here. It's not a Mark I but an I for imaging, since this phone is pointed towards camera enthusiasts. The Xperia Pro is made for Gorilla Glass and has a tall rectangular form factor and dark completion typical for Sony phones, but it stands out because of its unique-looking symmetrical camera arrangement. Another nice touch is the layered waffle-like surface on the thick metal frame, which adds a lot of grip. Also on the frame is an hardware button for the camera screen. We've seen this key on each generation. Pressing it down halfway will focus, and a full press snaps the image. It's been redesigned this time though and is much more sensitive. Overall, the Xperia Pro-I's fabricate is very strong. It's IP68 evaluated for dust and waterproofing and get Gorilla Glass fixes protection. On the front, the Xperia Pro-I has a similar screen as the Xperia 1 Mark III. It's a tall 6.5-inch OLED with both a 4K resolution and a fast 120Hz refresh rate. The 4K title is a little bit misleading during normal use, so most of the time the display will default to a lower 1096 by 2560. When you play back video content, however, it will change to 4K. It would also work in certain applications, but it's never clear which ones and with what kind of content. There's support for the high refresh rate, which smooths your swiping and scrolling. There is support for high frame rate gaming too, but little in the way of adaptive switching to save energy. The quality of this screen is flagship grade as you'd expect. There's HDR support and 10-bit color on top of those inky old blacks. Colors can be very accurate depending upon the color mode you pick, and there are a lot of choices to change them. With maximum brightness is a bit tricky, because the phone will lift the brightness within certain applications like Google Photos if you're in the creator color mode. Outside of those, we estimated 400 nits maximum with a slider and lift up to 580 nits in auto mode. When in bright conditions it's not bad, but there are competitors with more bright screens. You get an always no display for your time and notices, but the biometrics here are not under the screen. However, through a side-mounted finger impression peruser for sound, the Xperia Pro-I has a traditional earphone jack and a couple of front sound system speakers with Dolby Atmos support. The speakers are not the loudest around, scoring just average on our chart, and the sound quality is good, but we've heard better mids from other recent Sony phones. There is a lot of storage on board for your media and camera recording, 512 GB, and it's expandable on top of that too. The chipset of the Xperia Pro-I is the very good quality Snapdragon 888, which you'll find in the top flagship. These days performance is perfect as you'd expect right there alongside the competition. Running on a similar silicon, you'll have the option to run the best-in-class games. But we saw a drop in performance during longer sessions because of thermal throttling. The Xperia Pro-I has a 4500 mAh battery, very much like the Xperia 1 Mark III. And battery duration is comparable. The Pro-I had the option to score a duration rating of 87 hours in our exclusive tests. Good but not excited. And for charging, the phone comes with a 30-watt adapter in the box. We had the option to charge from 0 to 53% in 30 minutes. The interface of the Xperia Pro-I is a Sony skin on top of Android 11. The home screen itself is vanilla looking. Let's move on and discuss more about the cameras, and the most exciting thing of those is the main camera. It has a large 1-inch type sensor along with face detection, self-adjust OIS, and a variable aperture. It's significant that while the sensor behind everything is 20 megapixels overall, the camera effectively only uses the 12 megapixels in the middle. So the useful size is about the same to the Galaxy S21 Ultra even, so that's still pretty huge. And it allows you to have a shallow depth of field and naturally defocus background in your shots, but you also have the choice to control the focus depth by changing the aperture. The variable appears switches between f2 and f4, it's manual not programmed, so you'll have to activate it yourself to achieve the desired creative impact beside the main camera. The Xperia Pro-I has an ultra-wide camera with self-adjust and a 2.1 times telephoto camera, both at 12 megapixels. There's also a TOF camera and color spectrum sensor. Let's talk about photo quality, starting with stills from the main camera. These are excellent with a flagship worth level of detail that comes of a natural-looking. Colors are moderate, but not dull, and dynamic range is incredible. The ultra-wide camera's performance is decent. Its photos are sharp and detailed with a wide dynamic range in colors. Selfies taken with the 8-megapixel front camera are just decent. DTL is okay on the off chance that there's great light, and the colors are okay. However, there's visible noise if you are alternative to the front camera for selfies in vlogging. Sony takes care of you with its dedicated vlogging accessories sold separately. These consist of a monitor and Bluetooth shooting grip. And they permit you to see yourself and shoot while you're looking into the rear cameras if you use the vlog setup to take selfies. The quality is obviously much better. You get the advantage of the main camera's higher detail and dynamic range. When it's come to the actual video quality from the all-rear camera, it's great but not extraordinary, which is a bit of a disappointment from such a high-profile device. 4K film has incredible exposure, great colors, and wide dynamic range. So that is the Sony Xperia Pro-I. It brings the flagship features you'd expect from a Sony phone at this cost, including a durable build, a high refresh rate, 4K AMOLED sound system speakers, and a flagship chipset. And on top of that, you get the unique main camera and high-level video recording option anyway. Despite the hype and price tag, the Xperia Pro-I isn't simply incredible. You can track down better speaker quality, a more brilliant screen, and better battery duration than in other flagships. And keeping in mind that the Xperia Pro-I's still photo quality is extraordinary, its video recording falls behind competitors when it comes to resolve detail. So at the end, if you are a fan that is after the cutting-edge Sony camera phone, the Xperia Pro-I is a strong decision, but for every other person, the advantages you do get here may not be worth the cost premium. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you on the next video.